we're both town councillors, and we're both independent. There are other town councillors here, and also the mayor. We do just like to tell you that at the back, the door that's open at the back leads to the toilets. So if you want to go down with the lights on down there, in case of a fire, there's a fire door there, but that leads out to the car park, which is locked. So the best idea would be to go out the door you came in case of any fire. Okay? This meeting is due to last until 9 o'clock. And we normally run it on the basis that if someone's got an agenda item, they would raise their hand and ask a question, and then we will try to answer it, but anybody who's here is welcome to give their opinion or any information they have about that particular question. So I have been in contact with a lady who's been running a support group for on Facebook for people who've been directly affected by the Old Palace Lodge closure. Christina, are you here? Right, okay, so Christina, if you'd like to, Christina's been running the support group that's been on Facebook and started on Sunday. So if you've been directly affected by what's happened, if you've had an event that's been cancelled, a wedding, please contact Christina. Hopefully also you will be talking to each other maybe after the meeting, and hopefully get together after that. So maybe if we start with Christina, if you'd like to maybe make a point or ask a question.
Yeah, just to sort of let you know that there's a lot of people in our group that have had their wedding cancelled, there's been wakes cancelled, we've had no notice, I was never called myself for my wedding. People are getting refunds, but they are incurring photographer costs, the lists are endless, and I just feel it's just really out of order.
Yeah.
I've been in touch with Taylor Watson solicitors today, and their litigation team called me back within 10 minutes and said they will absolutely roll this.
I think if you form where you've all been affected, I think if you form a group, you can save a lot of costs and bring like a class action. Because my comment on Facebook, which got put in the press, which I'd stand by, that it seems like cruel and unusual behaviour. For you girls that have grown up thinking, oh, well, I have my big day there, and you've saved your money, and you've built up, it's not even the money, it's the crushing of your dreams, which is the crucial thing there. But we do get that. And I'd just like to say, none of the town councillors who have come along tonight, and we know there may be some crack flying, I may know that, the mayor's here, yeah, flak may fly in our direction. I would say it's unjustified, but if it flies, and we've come to field it in public, open and honestly, and so is the mayor. And some of them are of various political persuasions. I think everyone's represented, so.
The solicitor I got hold of actually has been following the case, and he actually thought it's such a strong case. Once it picks up some momentum, we probably won't even have to sort of go to court. So if anyone wants to sort of join or has incurred costs, please.
I think it would be ideal if you all went through a single route, a single solicitor, and if you could be the point of contact for that, you'll get a better result than if we campaign
from them. So everyone's obviously take your own advice, but it is there if you do want to sort of look into it with us.
And Christina, what's the name of the Facebook group?
It's I think that isn't it awful? Palace Lodge weddings cancelled.
Right, so Old Palace Lodge wedding cancelled. So if you go to that, it's a private group, so you'll have to ask to join. And obviously it's really for people who've been directly affected.
Sorry, can I just ask, do we have any clarification of when this was actually finalised and of when the application for this to happen was actually agreed with?
Well, as far as we know, I've been in communication with Andrew Sleuth today, sending emails backwards and forth, trying to find out what he knew and when he knew, because I read a a news report from yesterday on BBC website Local News that he had known for several weeks beforehand what had been proposed, and he had been in contact with both the Old Palace Lodge and the Home Office, but he hadn't informed, well, he told me at the time he hadn't informed Central Beds Council or the Town Council. Then later this afternoon, a couple of hours ago, in another email, he told me that he had contacted a Central Beds councillor who is the chairman of one of the departments, who would be on the executive committee for Central Beds Council. He didn't give me their name, but he said he was in contact with them when this all first started. Now I would have expected something more to go on from there, so I did invite Andrew Selous to attend this meeting, but he's down in Westminster. He told me he will be voting for things for the government tonight, and he wouldn't be able to make it back.
I think that's quite key, isn't it? It's the point is when was this initially proposed?
Yeah.
To the point is when was the Old Palace Lodge not being considerate to its customers with cancelling them earlier on, so they had more notice, or even continuing to take bookings. I just think that's the key. That's what, for a solicitor, that's what you need to find out. Is that
wasn't there a consultation in November 23rd, something around that time? There was a consultation, but no one knew about it. I read somewhere there was potentially a consultation then.
No, not with the council, not with Central Beds.
No, exactly. It wasn't with the council or anybody. It was obviously through the Home Office. So what I'm saying is that
when you say you heard that,
in November.
Okay, so when you say you heard that,
well, it was a report. I can't even. Do you know what? I can't remember where I saw it, but it was definitely in November that potentially the Old Palace Lodge knew about it.
Well, it's a problem when people say, I heard about or I was told, without any reference.
But it was a document of some sort, so...
Quite possibly, there seems to be some...
How long does it take to apply because obviously this hasn't happened overnight.
No.
That's my point. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Someone would have applied for this Home Office side of things. So on a standard planning, someone's going to know about it for maybe a 6-month period. You know, the owner of the Old Palace Lodge itself would have known, but like the ladies are saying, they've been accepting bookings for 6 months knowing they're applying for this. So they're double-handed the market.
Well, as I say, Andrew Selous has told us, and he said in his, it's been quoted in the report, that he was contacted some weeks ago. Now, he said weeks rather than months. He hasn't been specific with a date, but we obviously will have to go back to him in order for the...
Can I just ask one question? So you say I'm in the, I think I might be in the right meeting. Now, can I just ask that everyone in this room, whether I'm in the right place or not, do you think it's a good idea to have another 100 or so young Middle Eastern men ambling about the town with nothing to do? So I'd just like to say, put your hands up if you think it's a good idea. No, that's pretty unanimous, isn't it?
The gentleman wants to vote and no one voted for his Middle Eastern lads.
Yeah. Well, they can't. So what I'm saying, right, before we find a motion, none of us agree it's a good idea. We don't really want them here or be paid. I'm sorry, but nobody does.
Regardless of who's coming in, but if we have to look after these people, I get it. But this is a part of the community venue or for people of Dunstable, and it's been ripped from out, beneath our feet. How dare it happen? How dare it? Exactly. How dare it?
There's a lady at the front who's been wanting to speak for a while.
I just would like to understand how central government, the Home Office, can negotiate on the basis of a local community's future, economic, social, environmental, family-oriented future without anybody in either Central Beds or the Town Council or the Mayor being privy to it. It just doesn't seem to work like that. Central government is central government. It's centralised. It doesn't actually get down and do things at the roots. So somewhere, somebody in the local environment has actually been involved in this.
Yeah.
Whether they're coming forward or they're not coming forward, there's no way that you look up the Home Office, dial 9, get them and talk this through. Somewhere, someone's come back through to the local authorities, whether it be your...
We know that this has been discussed behind the scenes, at senior level, and all that. We know that.
So, but nobody's telling us that. We're getting that nobody knows about it, because that's what it said.
Well, at town council level, certainly the mayor did not know anything, and the mayor would be the senior person, you know, amongst us to know. The chief executive officer didn't know. The town clerk didn't know. The town has not been informed. CBC may have, some members may have had knowledge, as John has. He has some indication. Nothing we could use in the court of law.
But isn't it a listed building? That's the other issue. It's a listed building. Now normally, I don't know what umbrella, what part of it they're going to use might be a very clever way out of it. But the point is, it is a listed building.
It was a listed building.
Oh, thank God, isn't it?
Not for much longer.
It is. From historic England.
Hold on. We can't hear you. We can't hear you if you all talk at the same time. So let's do this on a hands-up basis.
It is a listed building. It's a grade 1 listed building.
So what umbrella, is it still a hotel? Or is it classed as something else now? Because surely it's a change of use.
I can give you an exact definition of what it is, if I need to. They define it as it's a 3-word term.
But if you're changing the use, aren't you meant to put an application form in for a listed building?
I don't think the government have to under their emergency regulations.
No, right.
The other thing is it hasn't changed from a hotel.
So it's still classed as a hotel, is it?
Well, I think so, yes, because sometimes people do book out hotels for periods of time. For example, when there are tournaments, hotels get booked out by whole things. I know it's a different situation.
It's not a refuge though, is it?
It's
not a refuge.
That's
what it is.
It's not a refuge, but I'm saying.
But do homeless people
trying to explain.
have the privilege of staying in a 4-star hotel?
I'm trying to
No, they
explain.
don't. Do they?
Right, okay. I'll just go around the room in turn. Is that fair? That joke, go on.
Right. I'm not the only one here, but I live in Kingsbury Court,
Right.
which is right by the side of next to Bedfordshire.
Yeah.
It's a community of 26-30 homes.
I used to live at number 5 Kingsway.
He was your next door neighbour then.
We was.
There's a lot of people there who are near to dying, extremely ill.
There's older people, yeah, for sure, and young people.
Look out of your window and all you can see is their windows. We are now totally surrounded by illegal immigrants. Our doctors, which is just on the corner, are screaming because they're being forced to take these people in. I am not being racist. These people are illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, the Ukrainians and such like who come in legally, fine.
And their families, not the young.
Exactly. And this is what we've got to put up with. Nobody, Bedfordshire Council or anybody has had the decency to talk to us. We're just getting on with it. And I'm afraid councillors, if they're any, take notice, we will take our revenge.
Right. Well, hopefully not. We can, as town councillors, take your concerns to the town council. The town council can take your concerns on.
Yes,
But it's after the fact. Madam Mayor will talk to you. Madam Mayor, Mayor of our town council come in to give us a view from your council.
Okay, so as you know, I am the town mayor. I honestly did not know anything about this until Sunday when I saw it on Facebook Sunday morning. Okay, that's the first time I heard about it, the first time the town clerk heard about it, the first time the rest of the councillors heard about it on Dunstable Town Council. So I'm speaking about Dunstable Town Council. I'm not here to defend what Central Beds knew or didn't know. I'm not here to defend what Andrew Saloon has said or didn't say, or has done or hasn't done. I can only tell you what the town council are now going to do. Okay? So both John and I think on Monday, we both did it probably within minutes of each other, wrote to our town clerk and have requested that we have an agenda item at our full council on the 6th of February, which is the first opportunity where all 17 of our councillors come around the table together, where we will sit and we will discuss in a public meeting what we can do to help and support our community in what is now a very difficult situation, because like all of you here, all of the councillors that I have spoken to on the town council since this has broken all feel very much the same as you. We've lost such a massive community asset and a facility for our people to use. I had a mayoral event booked there for the beginning of March. That's obviously been cancelled. I've had to go elsewhere. And like many of you, seriously, my event is nothing compared to a wedding. One of our councillors, their brother, had their wedding booked there. So we hear what you're saying, okay? We're feeling your pain as well.
That's not the big issue though, is it?
No, but I can't, right, but, so until, and I hear,
I'm sorry, I'll go back to my first comment.
let me finish, I hear exactly what you're saying, and I hear all of your views and your concerns, and I will take them away, as will all of the councillors sat here tonight, and there are a few of us in the room, and we will discuss it at our town meeting on the 6th of February. I can't tell you what the town council can and can't do at this stage, because we have to agree.
Dunstable was considered a luxurious hotel, okay? The Home Office say, oh, we won't take luxurious hotels, because we don't want to feel the immigrants are getting a good, yeah. So they don't take luxurious hotels, but they take Dunstable's only luxurious hotel.
And I hear what you're saying, and I'm upset about it as much as you are.
Well, because it should be, we can now do this, hopefully. When we get it back, it will become a vital community asset. So hopefully, I don't even know whether that can.
You won't get it.
Vital community
Who's
asset.
going to
Okay, I can't, as town mayor, I don't have the authority to do or say anything more, because I don't know the implications of what the town council can and can't do until we sit and we talk about it as a collective.
These meetings need to be splashed everywhere. We need to know exactly the times, when they are, so people can have their say. When they have, it cannot be last minute.
But these meetings,
I know this meeting isn't last minute. I know it's not.
We do them once a month.
I know exactly.
And we invite all the councillors, CBC and
But more of the topic of how these people are looked after. Who's managing them? Who's policing them? They are illegals to the country. Are they being contained to the old Palace Lodge, or are they free to walk?
They are allowed out. They can come out when they want.
There is one extra policing for these 105 people that they place in the old Palace Lodge. Just to manage them, because they're in the country as illegal. We don't know who they are from Chaparandom, and that they've been given a hotel room. But are they free just to walk our town and do as they please? They don't know no one in the town, so they're going to be moving in groups from that hotel. They are there. How are they being managed?
So I'll answer a couple of your questions. They are allowed out. They receive £8 a day. The hotel is taken over by, it's called a homes management company, based in Kent. It's not Serco actually, it's kind of similar to Serco but not actually Serco. They have a security division, which basically move in, and it's not run as a prison. But they are as big as John and me.
Or anything to say that they've got to check in at a certain time, because if they're not managed on that front, what's stopping them actually getting up and just moving on? Now that all I'm saying is that here as illegals, no one's actually said they're allowed to stay here. What stops them getting up and just moving from there? Obviously they've got nowhere to go, ideally.
Well, that's what stops them.
What stops them moving around the country and lost within the community?
Nothing.
So that's my
We're not that sort of country, that's the trouble.
Right, now here, at this point, they're moving into the old palace yards. Regardless of what's happening there, we can't stop that and provoke that happening now. My thing and what I'm here to understand is how they're being looked after while they're here. How is the community being looked after while they're here? Yeah. Regardless,
can I just say something then?
That's my biggest concern.
Okay. In order to try and answer as many questions as possible to explain this meeting was organised in October. We organised 6 meetings, one a month, put it out on a leaflet which went all over this ward and over to some other wards. It's also been published, so it's also, let me finish please, it's also been published on our Facebook, Dunstable Independence, and it also gets put out again a week before. So that's how this meeting came about. It wasn't specifically organised for this issue. Yeah. This meeting was organised, it was publicised last Wednesday, and then this issue came up. I invited Christina, who set her Facebook group up, to contact as many people to come to the meeting, but ideally so she could get in contact with everyone who's directly affected. Now, we don't have all the answers. I know we don't. Oh, we will take what you've said. I will go back to Andrew Selous with these questions because people need to know. And as he is the only person who seems to have had any direct involvement in this, hopefully he will be able to give the answers, or he will find a website where these answers can come from.
He faced the public, do you reckon?
No, because he did actually object to it, didn't he?
So we don't have the answers, but we'll certainly collate all the questions.
Inviting all of the townsfolk to come, because surely that's the purpose of the council.
Right, that proper meeting is already organised on the 6th of February.
That's your meeting. That's your meeting, yeah.
Council meeting.
Town council meeting.
I think this subject is so important to the centre of Dunstable, the whole of Dunstable, that it deserves more than to be on an agenda item in 3 or 4 weeks' time.
There is a full council meeting, I believe, on the 6th of February.
It's for us. So it's 2 weeks.
But at that, I will ask the town councillors if we want to hold, if we can hold, a proper meeting for you with as many councillors.
Surely that as elected members, elected by the public here, and the public here are asking if we can have a meeting set up by and facilitated by the organisations that we voted for, you should be able to facilitate that anyway.
I can't promise you there will be a meeting, but I can promise that I'll ask.
Is that because no one wants to address the subject?
We'll address the subject
No, you
best as
two
we
will,
can.
but why aren't the others here?
Well, they will. Madam Mayor's turned up, you know, and other town councillors are here as well.
One other town councillor.
No, there's
How many town councillors are there here? How many town councillors are in this room? Stand up. If you're a town councillor, put your hand up.
Stand up if you're a town councillor. So we've got 5 of us out of 17.
So why won't you hold a public meeting to talk about this subject? Why won't it be an agenda item?
Can I make 3 points? Firstly, it's obvious that the room is hostile to what's happening. And I understand that, yeah? But Dunstable Town Council are working really hard to improve Dunstable. And no one on Dunstable Town Council was given any idea of what was happening. And it's obvious that now we're aware of it, we are going to try and find out the situation. Andrew Selous even said today on Look East that the Home Office weren't aware that it was a luxury hotel. So there should be a question, why didn't he make the Home Office aware? Secondly, now it's been taken over, I think we need to approach the subject as elected officers to try and find out how it's going to be managed and what effect it's going to have on Dunstable.
So they also object. They're working generally why they haven't asked you about it.
That's one thing that needs to happen.
Well,
that's what needs to happen.
What probably we need, maybe 6 meetings a year with 3 or 4 people, is maybe some more public discussions like this about what's really affecting the town. Their mayor and their town council do what they think is best for the town. No, nobody's having a go.
We're not actually blaming you to do no, that's disgusting. But we should
And
have our
that's
MP
what
here
I'm
and
annoyed
we should
about.
ask him to
But that's what I'm
resign.
annoyed about. So the fact that we work for such a community facility within Dunstable.
I think the mayor does a brilliant job. I think many of the councillors do. I'm not having a pop at them. But it's our MP that's let us down. He should be up here and we should ask him to resign. Because he's lied and he's cheated people.
Come back to the front. I will ask the town council if they can hold a proper meeting for you with due publicity, etc., etc.
Can I just get a question across, please?
Well, we'll have the meeting on the 6th of February.
I will commit to leaving this meeting tonight, and tomorrow I will speak to the MP, I will speak to the Central Bedfordshire Council, representatives for this town, and I will also talk to our town clerk, and I will see and ask the question about a town meeting. I'm not convinced it should be led by the town council because we have no authority as a town council over what we can and can't do with this group. It should be, in my opinion, be either Central Bedfordshire or with Andrew as our MP. Okay? So I will do what I can, but I can't dictate to Andrew or Central Beds for them to hold a public meeting for you, okay? But equally, right this minute, I don't know how much Central Bedfordshire Council have equally been involved either. So it could well be that they aren't in a position to hold that. So I will take it away and I will do what I've promised. And I will feed it back to John and to Kenton, who arranged tonight's independence meeting, because that's what you do every month. Yeah. And I will make sure I feed that back, okay? But I can't give any guaranteements. But as Alan says, the town council, we're trying our best for you guys in Dunstable.
We are trying. Now let's go to that gentleman in yellow.
This gentleman, let him go first. Go on, the question. Obviously, we've all had our say with regards to what's going on with are they being housed there, who's looking after them. My main concern is what's now going to be done moving forward for our children. Because my children go to school over at Queensbury, right? Yeah. We live in Liscombe Road. That's a natural footpath through. Now, I'm someone who's lucky enough to have been around quite a few times, the country, other countries. I'm not stupid. I see how things go. Child trafficking is big everywhere. And I have a lot of people who actually work for me who are legal. They are. And they work in London, they're nice people, everything. They've gone through the system the way it's properly supposed to be done. But I know people that they've seen, or they tell me stories of people, things that's happened down in London, bad stories. So from my point of view, with two children that go to school from one side of Dunstable to another, why can the council, whoever it is, I'm not saying it's Dunstable, I'm not saying it's Central Beds, put their hand in their pocket to say, hold on a minute, how about a bus route for children from one school side of Dunstable to the other? Free bus for the school children.
I live on the Luton Road at 122, more or less opposite. And I've got a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old.
My daughter's 12 years old.
This week, new faces in the town.
And you did you have a question as well that you want to ask?
It's pretty much
the
the
same.
same as my husband.
I shouldn't have to have that conversation.
So I think that is a valid question for us to chase through as a town council. What about child safety?
It's about grooming. It's about,
You know.
obviously, in that area.
In fact,
you also will have grooming and trafficking rings coming in to town, having a look at what's going on. You've got
and I think it's valid for the community to say these are the fears induced by
and
a
they will
large
go to
reduction.
that hotel, and if there are families in there that have young children that want to make it better for themselves, they will take those kids.
As I understand it, there are no families.
In the House of Parliament, yet today or yesterday, there was a lady talking about another paedophile ring that happened in another hotel, and there was people coming in the night and taking these children that are legal immigrants, because it ain't just about our kids. It's them as well. Regardless if we've got an issue with them or not, it affects everyone. that person will be sitting in their car, looking at the families coming in and out, and also having a little look at our families that are walking up and down every day, because those kids come into the system and go missing, and in between that, all our children will then be groomed,
the question we'll take
trafficked
forward
and
is,
looked at.
what about child safety?
There is
They are,
no
as far as I
child
understand
safety.
it,
They
there
haven't
are
looked at
about
safeguarding for children
150 young
because
men.
they've let that come into town.
All young men. And what they're saying is the mothers and the fathers in Dunstable have now had foisted on them a feeling of unease about their children's safety.
Right.
That's a reasonable statement, isn't it?
But it's not just the children.
What are you doing?
It's every lady person.
I go out running most mornings. I'm not going to say time. I know you probably might be genuine, but you never know. There could be a crazy person in this room. But I go out most mornings very early running. Now I'll have to stop my route because I do go past that hotel. And regardless, I will, if somebody did come towards me, I would give them as good as I could get. But why should now I have to change my route because of that? Now why should I have to start filling up my car more and having to make one child late to school to make sure another one gets to school safer because she can't walk anymore? Yeah.
It should never be inflicted
because I'm worried about that. I shouldn't have to worry about that.
Right, take your view forward. Danny Young.
Do this. Beds police are already stretched with the community as it is to try and police what we've got. An extra 150 people that are criminals, they are coming from that background. We can't police what we've got, and we can't ascertain medical facilities for people that have got serious illnesses. It takes me 4 weeks to get an appointment for my wife who's got a serious illness. Now you've got 150 people going into that care community. It's now going to take 6 weeks.
Yes.
What infrastructure has been looked at before?
Note those down and take those forward.
It's valid questions.
All we
got
can do
the
is
answers.
suck up what you know, what you want to know, and see if we can get answers.
We live down the street, right next door to it. We already have enough problems with drug dealers, with users that are leaving needles down our street that we report all the time. We've got people that are shoplifting and breaking the windows every night up at the town. We've got enough problems of our own, and we're going to bring in more problems. We can't control what we've got.
Excuse me, does Central Bed
No,
have
yes,
funding?
please.
There is no funding associated with.
Nothing at all, you sure?
I looked on Hansard and it said.
Because I believe there's a contribution from the government, from the Home Office to districts that take these people in. So maybe that's
in Hansard, they didn't approve that.
Because it's gone to Central Bed.
Oh, it would go to Central Bed.
House insurance is going to go up, car insurance is going to go up. Who's going to pay for that?
Can I just reiterate? When we hold these meetings, I minute what's going on. I take notes. I then put those notes onto the Dunstable Independent's Facebook page. So I will write this up tomorrow morning, put it on the page, and then share it to other Facebook pages. And I will also, all the issues that are being raised, I will send directly to Andrew Sanuks, because as I say, as far as I'm aware, he is the only person that I know of that's had any direct contact with this. So hopefully he will be able to give us some answers on all the things that you've been talking about funding, child safety, all the issues being raised. So we're taking out, we can't give you the answers now because we don't know. We know as much as other people, it's only raised in Sunday.
The lady with the blue sleeve.
I've just got some basic questions. How many people?
150.
How long for? How long's the contract for? When's that going to end? Because some people have overheard that now they're using the Holiday Inn as well.
Hold on, let's finish this question.
I work in education, that's why I was late to the meeting. I've just come from a very large secondary school in Milton Keynes. I'd be worried about safeguarding April resources if that was my school. Yeah. Because I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I would like to know that people are being fairly distributed around the country.
Well, it's
So,
certainly not Dunstable.
if we're taking 100, how many is Luton taking? Let's do a comparison. How many Slayton buses are taking?
How many Starlington taking?
Because
What's the kids?
But I would like a comparison of areas because it is about a fair distribution. Because as you were saying, it is the impact on the NHS, it is the impact on the police. None of us are getting pay rises at the moment. We're all suffering. So it's about that fairer distribution rather than one area being
I understand.
and then the poverty issue. And let's face it, Dunstable hasn't been the most glamorous place in the world. But we, as you say, you're trying to improve the area, and we don't want that detrimental impact, like on insurance and everything else. So if we're sharing it, it has a fair impact.
I did find some data in the ONS Office of National Statistics, which I'm an expert in tunnelling in. I can go tunnelling and get what information I can, and I'll give it to John on the Facebook page.
I'll put your questions. I will also put your questions to Andrew Selous.
But give us a couple of days.
Google, as an operations director, how much a luxurious hotel is compared to the Premier Inn, because I could do that in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This is what I mean, it's all gone now, we haven't got anything nice. I mean, the garden, spent a fortune on that garden, and now it's going to be rack and ruin. Yeah.
What that lady was saying just now.
I'm coming back down the room. Susan's at the front.
I don't know how many of you listened to the piece tonight and the interview that was done about Old Palace Lodge on TV. And Andrew Selous was interviewed on it as well. But something that came out that I hadn't heard, even all the things going on Facebook, was that the owners of Old Palace Lodge are like a holding company.
MGM Group.
And that holding company also owns a lot of other properties already been filled with illegal immigrants.
They own another part of properties in Scotland.
And I don't know how long ago this holding company then took on Old Palace Lodge. Because Old Palace Lodge hasn't always been owned like it. But it was a bit, it smelled a bit really, when that came out, to hear that it's if they've been planning this for a bit while.
Can we put
and this is what makes it worse for all these other people with their events planned, whether it's weddings, funerals, whatever. It's wrong that this obviously this company's known that they're going to be doing something like this, and that's what came out. Andrew Selous came over, well, obviously fair, but actually said very clear that he made it very clear he was against this, and
I think Andrew Selous say whatever he thinks.
I think personally, I do believe that he is against this.
Then he should have spoken up earlier.
I think that's what a lot of people in the room did say. We didn't hear you shout. But then, there's pressures on you.
Hold on, quiet please.
That point needs to
Right,
be
so,
passed
yeah,
back to the people as a group, that they're going to be trying to.
There are MPs.
Information that will be helpful.
There are MPs all over the country in the same position.
Can we have an MP about the holding company and their other properties?
Okay, I'm going to know that.
Christina, you have a go, please.
My daughter wanted to say something.
I just wanted to say, how come there's like loads of homeless people, and yet we're still letting people come into the hotel when we could be helping these homeless people?
You're saying we've got our own homeless service. Yeah, we'll take that on board. Go on, sir.
Yeah. Once again, reply to that lady over there. I was looking on Facebook. I'm not saying everything on Facebook is gospel.
Well, no, it hasn't.
I looked down, talking to my neighbour, and I started seeing a list of hotels. There was 2 mentioned in Dunstable. I started to read them out, and I thought, I'll blow this. And I said, you come and have a look. And I scrolled for ages.
There is a published list on the ONS, yeah.
Yeah, and this list just goes on of all the hotels.
How can we
If
get
they're all
access
taking
to
150
Hold on, it's talking.
Sorry.
It's on the
Okay, that list is published on the web. If you just search list.
Well, why are we only finding this out now about this list? Why has it gone under the radar for so long?
Because somebody did it sneakily.
There's a gentleman at the back, yes. Do you want to ask a question, please?
Yes. Bedfordshire Detention Centre. Why can't we go there?
It's full.
I don't know, I'm sure it's full.
It's a good question, but it's a legal question. They've not been convicted of any crime.
Sorry?
It's a legal question. They've not been convicted of any crime.
I'm sorry, that's what the Bedfordshire.
But they have not been convicted of a crime.
Well,
Illegal immigrant is an offence.
Excuse me, my wife received a letter to report to the detention centre, and she hadn't done anything wrong. So don't go there with me.
Right, well, it'll be illegal.
Right, so
It'll be a legal argument.
I'm asking you a correct question.
I'll ask the question.
Detention centre, or like you did in COVID, you built a hospital within 6 months. So go and build extra annexes to that detention centre, and please place them there until they have been processed.
Okay, we have a question, we have Brandon Saloons tomorrow.
Go on, sir. Right. The town council don't do that. We do have periodically a priority set meeting with Bedfordshire Police, which also involves Central Bedfordshire Council, who have a lot more clout, so we do get to put our top. And the police priority set recently was to do with these lads riding around on motorbikes causing trouble. That was the last one. Dunstable doesn't see a lot of police because in proportion with the rest of the county, we don't have a lot of crime.
Really? Not me down our line,
That's the police view. The police will go.
Can't pick the needles up outside my house.
That's the most crime.
We're obviously hearing how many we're getting here now in Dunstable. Can I put Tom Shaw on the spot? Councillor Tom Shaw.
Sorry, can't hear.
Can I put Councillor Tom Shaw on the spot to tell us how many in Luton they've got?
I'm only using an observer, right? You're wrong, Luton has got 1,100.
That's why I asked,
And
what's the number?
How it works, I feel sorry for the two councillors.
Yeah.
Because if the Home Office followed what they did in Luton, in Central Beds, these councillors wouldn't have known a single thing about it. What happened in Luton at 4:30 on a Friday afternoon, Hazel, the leader of the council, and the chief executive both got phone calls and emails that 400 were arriving at Lee student halls that night. And at 9 o'clock, these student halls were full with 400 people. That's how quick they do. But here's one thing you can offer to do. Luton Council is going to court against the government for the way they've handled it. If we get money from someone else to help with the court case, we'd love it.
Yeah. So Tom, how many's in Luton at the moment?
1,100 plus.
How many's in Dunstable at the moment?
I'll tell you
400? How many's in Leighton Buzzard?
The question you're not asking.
Hang on.
I can answer, I'll answer it right away.
Hang on, let me just make a point.
5% of the population of East of England live in Luton and Dunstable. 25% of the asylum seekers from the East of England based in Luton, Leighton Buzzard and Dunstable.
Can I just say that was my point? This is where I said about having dispersion around the country and different towns. We've got 3 towns that feed into the L&D, therefore putting pressure on schools. We all take our share. Putting pressure on doctors, putting pressure on hospitals, putting pressure on things that don't exist, and then 8 turn up at once because they race to everything with blue lights, and then that's how you know the police are in town. Genuinely true. I live on the main road, I see it all the time. But all of those towns are feeding into one place. Therefore, that's why I'm asking about numbers and quotas. And actually, do we now say we're now full? You've got to go, not necessarily go away, but you've got to go to the next place. Because there is pressure on the hospital. People are waiting. Excuse me, can I just finish making a point? People are waiting 24 hours for a bed in hospital. Okay? My parents were told, my dad had a heart problem the other day, well, 3 weeks ago. He's under Harefield and the L&D. He was told, don't come to the doctors, go to the hospital, wait in A&E. A&E told them to go away.
They're all on the floor.
Right? However, I can also tell you the school I go to, we are technically full, and because of fair access, we get another one, and another one, and another one. Every month, we are taking on 12 students. You try finding a seat, let alone educating. That's where I come back to resources and pulling money, safeguarding, whatever it may be. But we don't get any extra money. But I'm just saying, what is the number? How are they spread out? What is
I will
quota?
try and find
you know,
an indicative map of the distribution.
That's where our MP is, isn't it? How do you live in Standard? How do you live in Hertfordshire? You know, we need these answers.
I doubt it's very many, but I don't.
If we know they're from Albania, send them back to Albania.
Hold on, quiet please.
In danger of being lynched, I actually have been working with refugees and asylum seekers in Dunstable.
You're brave.
You know, I also volunteer for the food bank, so I've got an idea. And at the present time, there are 50 odd plus men down at the Marklet Holiday Inn, and we've got families based in the Holiday Inn Express on the outskirts of town. So these people that are coming to the Palace Lodge, are they men on their own or families?
As I read it, it's up 150 young males.
If they are men, why are they not going with the other men at Marklet? It's good for us.
But they've all absconded. They've all just disappeared.
The biggest problem
Is it big enough in Market?
the biggest problem from the I deal predominantly with the families in the biggest problem they tell me they have is boredom. They want to work, they want to be doing something, they can't volunteer, they can't do anything.
Stay in France.
They're not all illegal immigrants or anything like that. Some of them are, the majority of them have come from places where they're trying to escape.
So you've got Ukrainians stay and fight. The Ukrainians stay and fight, they don't leave their families.
We have got Ukrainians in Dunstable, but they're not in the Holiday Inn Express.
I think I would say, in my estimation, the Ukrainians would be treated totally different. We are aware of the situation in Ukraine. They are fighting Russia, not each other.
The other aspect to understand is exactly what that lady was saying.
Quiet please.
The families are here with children and they are having problems getting places for their children. So it's another resourcification. It's not just about the trafficking bit, but it's actually about the children need to be in schools. They go to the schools, but they haven't got the English. Nor the parents got the English, so therefore there's requirements there as well.
Can I just say in reply to that, as I work in education, schools are full up and you can't recruit a teacher because government hasn't trained anyone. And now you're having to fight for English maths and you try finding a seat in a classroom. And that's my job, I have to do that. But I'm saying to be balanced, you have to think about numbers because it's putting pressure on everything. And it is about making sure that one place doesn't get hit and saturated and deprived. Good business work, by the way, I love that. But that you don't deprive just one area and drain it of natural resources and all the good things, that it is dispersed. But yet again, I made that point, Luton, Leighton Buzzard, even Bedford now, because they've got an alliance with the L&D, and Dunstable all feed into one hospital, and you cannot get served. And doctors, don't even get me started on that. And then education. So that's what I'm saying. It's about those numbers and making sure people that do have access have it. Because if you're filling up a classroom, we're also affecting all the other students in that classroom, let alone the teachers that are expected to get the results, that are expected to help everyone, and you're meant to be teaching English while you're teaching a lesson, and you are meant to be doing it.
Why is it just men though, and it's not the women and it's not the children? Why is it just the
Well,
men?
you're asking the question, why is it a disproportionately large number of young men across the channel in boats? 40,000 of last year, but 95% of them were young males. Probably because if you're looking to get a better job, get a better life, as a young man with no children, you can just go. As a woman, you are more tied to the children's requirements. You know, if you're living in, I'll pick a country, like in Armenia, as a woman, it's much more difficult to travel if you've got to carry 2 children with you, whereas a man can just walk across.
But if they've got families, will they then be able to bring them over at a certain point?
Once they're settled, they would naturally seek to bring their families on.
Listening to everybody, we're all got concerns, not just Dunstable Town Council, every resident in Dunstable has got a concern about what's going on. And I suggest you come to a conclusion with this meeting, you form a group, you request to speak to Andrew Saloon, make sure the Home Office realise it is a 4-star hotel.
We want the old Palace Lodge back.
The people have been affected with weddings and things, that's already underway with Taylor Walton. But those questions really need to, why has it happened and how is it going to be managed? So that your group of people who've talked to Andrew Saloon could come up with, this is what's happening.
Well, we'll discuss that at the end and see if they want to form, if the people want to form a group. The man behind the lady, because he's running out of blood in there.
Is the council and the mayor committed to fight this decision? Yes. And are we going to try and get it overturned? Whether you do or not, are you going to try and fight it? Rather than just
I've always said I am committed to fight for whatever the people want for.
What is the likelihood of it getting?
And I think the mayor is
Can the mayor speak for herself though, rather than you speaking for her, please?
Well, I've spoken to the mayor about this. When we were elected, we spoke to the mayor and she said, we're not
I've already said that I'll do what I can to help the community of Dunstable and do what's right for Dunstable, and that is to get the old Palace Lodge doors back open.
And you come against another council to come against their people.
We've never, in the 14 years that I've been a councillor, I've never experienced anything like this.
But has there ever, like, in a different area?
Not that I've been able to research, okay? But
so once it's been approved, that's it.
In Northampton, they reversed what they agreed. They were going to put 200 into a hotel in Northampton, and the MP got together with the local authority and the people, and they reversed the order. So it is
But then isn't it a financial decision why this has happened? Has he not took his part?
We don't know, do we? We don't know because we don't know any facts.
It's a financial transaction between the government and him.
How much is he?
My question is, did he?
I have no idea. We don't know the facts.
Is there something online?
We don't know the facts.
Excuse me, can we just have one person
Right.
talking at a time, please?
As I said before, we don't know the facts as a town council. We haven't had.
We need to find out then.
Yeah, give us a chance to speak. Give other people a chance to speak, please. So finish off what you wanted to say.
I'm just saying, did they apply for that transaction with the government, or did I know you don't know? I'm just asking. It's not against you.
I know.
I know you feel like everyone's, but you're at the
Broad
end
shoulders.
of the day, you guys are there for a reason. So you
No, and that's why we're here tonight, and that's why I've come to support the group.
My other thing is safeguarding and the fact that did he apply, or she, whoever they are, did they apply for that and the government jumped on them and went, yeah, we'll have you?
Right.
Or,
it was on Street Cat Radio.
so that happened. So how comes the government did that, but those people in the government haven't done their bit by telling civil
And these are the
defence.
questions you
And
need
it's
to
the
speak
middle
to
man,
Andrew
or is
about.
it,
So,
as usual, an envelope
while I've
will
sat
come
there,
hush hush.
while I've sat there
Let that
listening,
happen.
while I've sat there listening, I have emailed Andrew, I have emailed copied you two, Councillor Hollick and Councillor Corkill. So there's clear transparency that I've asked Andrew, and I've said you have demanded a public meeting. Okay? I've asked him. I can't do any more. I can't force it, but I've done that. Instead of doing it tomorrow, I've done it tonight. Email him. Email him. If everybody emails and requests it.
If this meeting goes ahead, can you, from your side, can you push for some sort of representation from Bedfordshire Police, because we need. That's a big issue for me. Is that you know, I've got a young adult that goes out in Dunstable at night. He's away at uni, but when he comes back, he goes out. I do not want him walking back from town.
If Andrew arranges that meeting, then we will ask Andrew to ensure that the police are asked to present as well.
You know,
that there is a police presence as well to be able to come and support and answer questions.
We can't rely on police coming from Luton over to Dunstable. It's too late. There needs to be more police in Dunstable.
Can I just say one thing about the police? Can they open the police station?
That's what I'm
Yeah.
Right, so again, you're asking for questions that I can't give you answers to. But John is writing those questions down, and John will ask those.
Surely the MP is an MP because we voted him.
Right, okay.
So therefore, it's his job to listen to us and come to a meeting.
And that's why we've asked him to hold your public meeting for you. I can't do any more than that tonight.
Right now, let's do a reset, please. Let's move on. Is there anything new?
Can I just ask one action?
No, that lady's been waiting. I'll come to you.
Right, I emailed Andrew Salute Sunday afternoon. We went for dinner at the Travellers Rest in Woburn, or whatever it's called, and the man who runs that hotel told us what was happening at the old Palace Lodge. Right, he told us, we were there 12 o'clock. Yeah. He told us what was happening. I got home, I emailed Andrew Salute. I got a lengthy response, because I know Andrew Salute through work. And he told me that he'd been speaking to the owners of the hotel for a long while, trying to convince them not to do this. So he's been part of this all the time.
And he's not here to defend himself, so
take
your point. Take your point. Yeah, it's great, and it's great.
What I'm saying,
let's get a meeting with him.
Well, no,
where he can ask the
finish,
questions.
because the case bit in point here is that sort of all of this has gone on, and we get to hear on Facebook, which I think is dreadful. If it wasn't for you two kind people putting it up there, individuals might have known, but the rest of us wouldn't have known.
No, none of us are pleased.
And I think the key things are there's an economic impact. All those shops in the town that now might feel uncomfortable staying open late, or might have a lot of trouble with people coming in, or less people coming into town. My brother-in-law texted me this afternoon. He lives in Bedford, not Kent, he heard it. It's on national news. Everybody knows.
Right, okay, well, back to the lady in blue.
Sorry, can I ask one action of the town council? It's great you have the meeting. It may be good to go now with best practice and what the experience is in other areas. Because if Tommy's saying that the councils in Luton, as a borough, are taking the government to court, what's your experience? What lessons have you learned? What lessons have other people learned? Because actually we can stop some things happening if you go, because this is the first you've heard. So you're not going to know necessarily those experiences, but someone else has been through it. What can we learn? How can we empower you to then go off and
We would ask our town clerk, chief executive officer, whose job it is to do these sort of things, he's got officers that work for him, to go off and research what recourse is available.
Yeah.
How's that?
And I think that's good for you as well.
Well, it's good for you, which is more important.
Well, inadvertently, you know, that empowers you to be able to go.
Man with a greenish jumper.
Yes. As Tom Shaw said earlier, the Luton Borough Council are in
litigation.
Would it not pay us, if it becomes big enough, to join forces with Luton Borough to make a bigger entity to take the government?
Your case may be different from what the lady said on she said Andrew had been talking to the people in the old town for a while, our case in Luton is that they failed in the wrong guidelines. They only informed the council at 4:30 in the afternoon. The people were coming at 9 o'clock. You couldn't use the same guidelines as us after what that lady just said up there.
In terms of us, I mean, nobody knew about it, so we all knew about it Sunday, yeah, Facebook. Monday they're ripping the bar out. You know what I mean? So it's like a day.
Yeah, but the town council is different to the cabinet.
I know all of that, I know that.
Okay, so.
And then second Wednesday, they don't.
So should we, okay, from that gentleman there?
Do we know when these people are going to start arriving?
They're already there. We just ran a corner from it.
So, any more new questions or points?
The only thing I'd like to know is can someone stay on top of any new applications coming through so that we're aware of it before it happens? Because this case to me is too late. We need to deal with what we've got now. A lot of questions have been around safeguarding. Let's find out what they're doing about safeguarding. We can't stop what's happening.
Totally agree with you, and I think
what may be potentially happening in the future with other hotels.
I think all the councillors will be having their ears and eyes open, but we did not see, there was no knowledge.
The thing is, there's got to be some knowledge because there's applications being handed through. Someone somewhere in that loop, someone knows. That communication isn't between the government and the person owning the hotel. They've got to have, with the planning application, input somewhere within that system. You know, you can't skip our whole town out with no one knowing what's happening.
I know you keep on talking about planning application.
I'm just saying, an application, regardless whether it's planning, there's an application being put in. So there's paper trail. So there's paper trail on the internet somewhere. Whether it's being submitted straight to the Home Office, is it being submitted to Central Beds Council, is it being, where
okay, so if tomorrow in the list of questions I sent to Andrew Sluice, if I ask him, how did the Old Palace Lodge first get in contact with the Home Office? What is the process for a hotel to apply for this?
What due diligence has been done to say that our communities can actually support it?
Sorry, I couldn't hear the first
What
part.
due diligence has been done to say that our community can actually support this?
Good question.
Yes.
The only thing that nobody's mentioned tonight is the 40 odd people were made redundant Sunday. Now, I believe there should be consultation with people, at least a week's consultation. They should be told at least a week before. So,
Now, can I say one more thing?
We haven't mentioned that now. Is anybody
now? Can you just find out what the process is in law as well? Sorry to talk over, but I'm leaving to go somewhere. Can we just find out what the process is that we can have a look at? We've got 105 people. What is the process procedure? Is it a case of being processed and being integrated into the town? Or are they being moved on to other cities so that we know the impact of our housing as well?
They are held in these emergency accommodation addresses while their application for asylum are processed.
And that could take years because they've got such a backlog.
And your question was?
Yeah, no, it was there's 40 members of staff made redundant.
I'm not political, I don't want to get political.
But
as far as I can tell, a lot of them are on 0 hours contracts.
The company hasn't done it right as far as I can see.
Well, as in with a lot of companies of whatever political persuasion, people have been put on things called 0 hours contracts, the gig economy, and they're just not got any hours.
Any of the staff were here.
So they won't be made redundant because there are no hours for them to work.